How can we make life simpler for area meeting trustees?
One key thing is relationships. Making sure that the relationship between the area meeting and the trustees as a body of trustees works really smoothly and well, that both understand which kind of decisions need to be made by the area meeting in session and which decisions are right for the trustees to make. Sometimes, of course, things will move between one and the other, perhaps a little bit of consultation, but they don't need to keep moving back and forth and re-going over discussions perhaps the trustees have been trusted to do. Another of the key relationships is between the clerk of trustees and the clerk of the area meeting. And again, do they get on well? Do they have the same kind of view about which decisions are right in which meeting? Do things move smoothly? And obviously relationships between the trustees are really worth working on, because then things can move more smoothly.
What about managing the business?
Well, I guess like any organisation, like any meeting, it's really important to prioritise which things are the most important to spend time on and which things are less important, and are there in fact some things that we can leave altogether. People have been talking to me about the use of subgroups amongst their trustees. Quite a few have 3 subgroups, something around finance, perhaps one about property, and one about policy and people. It might be a way of organising that. And that allows each trustee not to have to think in detail about all of the issues, but they can rely upon their colleagues to go into the detail on one topic, and then perhaps the high-level decisions might come to the trustee body for discernment. Some area meetings have talked to me about involving non-trustees on some of those subgroups. So if you have a professional, maybe let's say a human resources professional who's happy to share some of their expertise with the trustee body, they might be on the people and policies subgroup, and they can contribute in that way without taking on the whole of the trustee role. Sometimes that they then decide that they could become a trustee if they're asked. So that's also can be quite a useful way of drawing people into the trustee body. Another important way is to think about delegating. Not all of the trustees' decisions need to be made by the trustees in full session. Sometimes on some issues you might delegate some things to a subgroup, perhaps smaller levels of spending or certain types of item, either to be delegated completely to that group or to be confirmed at the full trustees meeting. Another way of delegating, of course, is to pay some staff to do some of the work, and I talk about that in another of these videos. And thinking of videos, some bodies will use video conferences to enable them to get together a group of people to make some decisions without everybody having to travel every time. One wouldn't do that all the time, but you might use that on certain occasions. And certainly communicating by email frequently enough helps things move along well. Another thing some area meetings are exploring is whether they could do some things in common with another area meeting. Maybe they might tend to develop policies together, or they might use the same kind of processes, or they might just check in with each other how they do things, and that can make things much simpler rather than everybody having to reinvent the wheel.
What about policies for area meetings?
And that really is an area where we seem to be reinventing the wheel a lot. And so one part of the project that I'm working on is to source a range of model policies that can be adapted and then adopted by area meetings around the country rather than everybody generating them independently. I'm working on a new model safeguarding policy, and others are already on the BYM website. You can find them through the Trustees page, and that's the Area Meetings Trustees page. And I'm working with the London Quakers Property Trust, who are developing a suite of policies, and we hope to have them out in the autumn.